Thank you, President. Amandla. Amandla. Viva EFF, viva. Tata, EFF, tata. Awe Musho Mashodu, awe. Down with Sir Ramaphosa, down. Down with Helen Zille, down. Down with GNU, down. Forward to the EFF, forward. Kalaboa, Deputy President. Kalaboa, our officials, National Chairperson, DSG, TGSG, the provincial leaders who are here, the leadership of Free State under the Chairperson Couch, and all those sub-regional interim leadership corps that are here. Kele dumedise kaofela, batho ba Free State and South Africa, ke dumedise bonkgono ka motenteng. Ke re ke thaba haholo le teng mona, ke ngwana wa lona ntle le lona, ha ona EFF. Brandford ke lehae la rona la EFF, Masilonyane ke lehae la rona la EFF, Majwe Masweu ke lehae la EFF. That's why when we are here, we feel at home. Comrades, ke tla fela ke kenya le sekgowa ka hore Deputy President o rile re tlo bua le batho ba Majwe Masweu le batho ba Free State, South Africa, Africa and the world. So ha re bolela le lefatshe, re swantse re fele re tsenya le language ya the colonialist, because we want the enemy to hear our stance on all issues, particularly Donald Trump, who wants to intimidate us. Today, we gathered on sacred ground on an important day in our nation's history. On this so-called Freedom Day, we are in a place of deep pain, resistance, and unbreakable courage, which was home of the mother of our revolution. We gather in Brandford, across the house where Mama Winnie, Nomzamo Mandela was banished, isolated, and stripped of her basic freedoms. The life of our icon and our hero, Mama Winnie Mandela, changed forever in 1962 when her husband Nelson Mandela was arrested and sentenced for life imprisonment. From that moment, Mama Winnie became the face of anti-apartheid resistance within the country. She endured repeated burnings, harassment, solitary confinement, and arrest. In 1969, she was arrested under the Terrorist Act and held in solitary confinement for 491 days without trial. Comrade Mama Winnie was forcefully relocated to this place called Brandford by the apartheid regime, separated from her children and community, placed under constant surveillance. The regime hoped this isolation will break her. Instead, Brandford became a place of resistance. She used her home to educate, organize, and support the local community. She turned a punishment into power. She lived here in Brandford for nearly 9 years, from 1977 to 1986. During that time, despite being cut off from Johannesburg and the political mainstream, she continued her anti-apartheid work. Her house became a center of political activity and community upliftment. She provided food to the hungry, health services to the sick, and hope to the poor. She wrote, she organized, she resisted. It must be said without apology, if it were not for Winnie Mandela, the name Nelson Mandela might not have survived the 27 years of his imprisonment. She kept his name alive. She kept the struggle burning. She ensured that the world never forgot Robben Island. While the apartheid regime sought to isolate and silence him, it was Mama Winnie who gave him a voice from the prison cells of Robben Island. But the revolutionary stance came at a cost. She was betrayed not by the enemy, but by her own comrades. After 1990, when political prisoners were released and exiles returned, the leadership of the ANC began to shift. They embraced neoliberalism, negotiated compromises, and sidelined those who still carried the flame of radical change. Mama Winnie was amongst those discarded. She opposed the direction of the ANC policies, its retreat from nationalization, its betrayal of the Freedom Charter, its closeness to white capital, and its failure to deliver land and justice to the people. For this, she was isolated, vilified, and kept out of positions of power. She remained loyal to the people, but not to the betrayal of their dreams. At the time of her death in April 2018, Mama Winnie was still a revolutionary. She was a grandmother, a leader, a voice of conscience. She remained fearless, critical of the post-apartheid elite, and determined to speak for the poor and landless. Her funeral became a moment of reckoning when the people reclaimed her memory and reminded the world of she truly was. Fellow fighters, this place was called Brantford. It's a living symbol of the cruelty of apartheid and the courage of those who dared to defy it. Mama Winnie was not imprisoned by bars, but by a brutal regime that feared her life. Her life was a daily punishment inflicted for her refusal to submit, to break, or to betray the cause of liberation. We remember her not as they tried to define her in courtrooms, in commissions, in newspapers, but as she was, a revolutionary, a mother of the nation, a militant, and a fearless fighter of the revolution of our people. We remember the pain of her death, the distortion of her legacy, and the betrayal she suffered at the hands of the very movement she helped sustain in its dark days. The ANC turned its back on her, choosing cowardice over truth, compromise over conviction, and yet through all this, she stood tall. Today, on Freedom Day, we must ask, what did we become free from? And what remains that promise? Freedom did not come cheap. Freedom did not fall from the sky. It was fought from the bush, in the cells, in the streets, in the exile camps of Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Zambia, Angola, Namibia, and beyond. To understand what we became free from, we must understand how apartheid was built. Apartheid was a law that was aiming at destroying our people, not only physically, but emotionally as well. Apartheid was created because they wanted to isolate you from the economy of South Africa. Apartheid laws were passed so that you can have your own separate education, have your own population registration, and the group areas, and pass laws, and many others. Apartheid was policed by the security forces, funded by capital, and justified by distorted theology and racist science. Comrades, we must not forget that it was apartheid that took the land from us. And when we say that today we are free, we must ask ourselves, where is the land that was taken from us? Apartheid created Bantu education and gave our parents inferior education. Today, when we say we are free, we must ask ourselves, where is quality free education that were promised before 1994? Comrades, what is freedom without justice? Why do you say we are free when those who killed our liberation icons are not held accountable? Today, those who killed Krisani, they say they can repeat it again tomorrow. What is freedom about that? Today, as we speak, Krisani has never received his justice? Where is the justice of Steve Biko, who was killed in isolation? He died alone, naked and chained in a cell in 1977. Yet there's never been justice for the killing of Steve Biko, yet you claim freedom. Where is the freedom for the children who were killed in 1976? Hector Peterson, 12-year-old child, was killed in Soweto. Many children were killed in Soweto. Today we don't have the names of those who killed them. Today we don't have the names of those who sanctioned for the killing of the children in 1976. Fighters, the Craddock 4, Matthew Gonyiwe, Fort Kalata, Sparrow Konto, and Sicelo Mtlauli. Till today, they have not received their freedom. 4 brave activists from the Eastern Cape were abducted, shot, tortured, and murdered by apartheid security forces in 1985. They were burned and mutilated bodies were dumped on a rural road. Till today, there's not been justice for the Craddock 4. Comrades, political freedom without economic freedom means nothing. Today, here in Free State, in Mangaung, our people are swimming in sewage, yet they claim to be free. Our people are unemployed in Free State, yet people say we must celebrate freedom. To call us to celebrate freedom, you mean we must celebrate unemployment. We must dance that our people are unemployed. We will never do that. For as long as our people are unemployed, there is no freedom in Free State. There is no freedom in Mangaung. There is no freedom in Masilonyane. Comrades, there is no reliable water here in Brantford. There is no electricity here in Brantford. Why must we celebrate freedom in darkness? What kind of freedom is this that we are called upon to celebrate in darkness without clean running water? Yet in towns where whites live, there is clean water and electricity. All of us are under the same municipality, but we don't receive the same services because we are black and they are white. Because we are black, they think we are inferior and we must receive inferior services. We must refuse to accept that and say we will never celebrate any freedom as long as there is no water running into our taps in each and every house, not on our streets. Fighters, no child must go to school where there is no flushing toilet. All schools must have flushing toilets. All schools must have learning material. No child must go to school and pay for school fees because education is not a commodity but a constitutional right. No child must buy a uniform because education is a right. Why are prisoners given free uniform yet children are not given free uniform? Comrades, no child must be raped at school. Schools must be small heavens. When we are at work, when we are pursuing the economic opportunities, our children must be safe in the schools. No teacher must sleep with children. Any black teacher who sleeps with a black child is a coward, is a mpimpi. He wants to destroy the future of South Africa. Comrades, what freedom must we celebrate when many of our children stay in shacks, not knowing where their next meal is going to come from? We need to guarantee our children meal every day. They must have breakfast when they arrive at school. They must have break and they must have lunch before they go home. When they arrive at home, they must find their parents with sufficient child grant, which will buy them supper. They must never sleep with empty stomachs. They must never learn with empty stomachs. We want our children to be looked after. We want free education because the best investment is in education. You can see in Velcom, there used to be mines. Those mines are finished. Those mines have expired. But your education will never expire. That's why we must invest in education, because you will take it to your grave without an expiry date. Comrades, Mama Winnie Mandela was tortured for us to be free, not for us to sleep with a councillor, for us to get a job like the ANC councillors are doing today. Mama Winnie in a grave, she's not at peace, because the movement has committed itself to the races she gave her life trying to defeat. How can Winnie Mandela sleep peacefully when she knows that her government is in bed with the enemy? The ANC is working with the DA that tried to kill Winnie Mandela, the DA that killed Chris Hani, the DA that killed Steve Biko, the DA that killed Robert Sobukwe. For as long as those people are not held accountable, the EFF will never go into bed with the enemy. We will rather remain isolated, will rather remain excluded, but will stand on the side of the people and will stand on the side where Winnie Mandela stood until death. Comrades, the most critical thing facing all of us as a nation today is that South Africa does not have a budget. Nowhere in the history of the world has a country been able to operate without a budget. In other countries, the crisis we are in would have led to an early elections, because without a budget, there is no government. The day the ANC passed a budget illegally, that is the day this government has collapsed. Without a budget, there can be no money to fight crime and gender-based violence. So the women and children of South Africa are in danger because there is no budget. Without a budget, there can be no allocation of money to schools for your children, for textbooks, for feeding schemes, and to eradicate pit toilet. South Africa, without a budget, there can be no allocation for money for clinics and hospitals, for nurses and doctors, and for critical medication to save lives. Comrades and fellow fighters, without a budget, there can be no salaries for public servants and employees of government, and there can be no funds to fix roads and collapsing infrastructure. Without a budget, there is no possibility to grow the economy and create jobs. We were told by the media and markets that they want the ANC and DA-GNU because this coalition with racists will stabilize the economy and create stability. It has been 3 months now, and this country led by the GNU does not have a budget. This is an illegitimate government. You cannot be a genuine government without a legitimate budget. There is no budget because the Minister of Finance has withdrawn the Division of Revenue Bill and the Appropriations Bill, meaning he has to create a new fiscal framework to introduce these bills again. That means there is no money allocated for anything in South Africa as we stand here today. Ino Godongwan wrote a letter to the media this week saying he is reversing VAT increase, and this same week a group of fools started celebrating with the ANC and called a press conference celebrating that they stopped a VAT increase. They are lying. It was the EFF that stopped the VAT increase in South Africa. All of them lined up like children in front of an ANC banner and celebrated, not knowing that the crisis was only beginning. Now SARS says that those businesses who had already prepared their system for a VAT increase will have until the 15th of May to reverse it. This means that for 15 days, some business will have 15.5% VAT rate and others a 15% VAT rate. This is the chaos the ANC has created. How can we have two separate VAT in the same country? The other business for the next 15 days will get 15.5. Those who get this extra 0.5% increase for 15 days, how are they going to pay the interest on that money? Because if I had not paid that money to those businesses, it will be in my account and it will accumulate interest. It was Musima Imani, Songezo Zibi, and Herman Mashaba who sold our people out working with the ANC. We must know them for who they are. Comrades, let me tell you, in order for the VAT increase to be reversed, there needs to be a sitting of parliament to first deal with that illegal fiscal framework they voted for on the 2nd of April. These criminals, we told them that you cannot reverse VAT outside parliament. Before they passed VAT, the EFF went to tell them that what you are doing is illegal. They used their small majority to outvote the EFF. We took them to court and we presented superior logic in court. When they listened to their arguments, they then said they are reversing VAT. Minister cannot reverse VAT outside parliament. Minister has got no power to overrule parliament. They must come back to parliament with egg on their face and come and face their shame for not following the laws and the constitution of the Republic of South Africa. Comrades, no amount of grandstanding can take away the fact that this country, it is what it is because of the EFF. If there was no EFF, you'll be paying more VAT. If there was no EFF, there will be corruption everywhere without being challenged. We must be happy that the EFF of the people is holding them accountable. Comrades, we must know that everywhere else in the world today, the people want to crush South Africa because of what South Africa stands for. We must never allow that South Africa must be bullied by imperialist forces. America must never tell us what to do. The same United States, which is furious at being cut off from the riches of Burkina Faso, cannot tell us what to do. We stand with Captain Traore. We stand with Traore because we know that Traore stands for the unity of Africa. We are Traore, and Traore is all of us. If they kill Traore, you must know they would have created another wound in the continent of Africa. We must defend him the same way we defend the unity of Africa. We must defend China for defying the USA and telling the USA to go to hell because they don't understand how the tariffs works. Donald Trump is an enemy of himself and all of us. And he must know the EFF is not scared of him. The EFF is not scared of Israel. The EFF is not scared of Morocco. The EFF is not scared of the imperialist forces. The EFF will stand on the side of the people of DRC, the people of Sudan, and the people of Sahrawi. Comrades, we must ensure that before we achieve any of these things, we build a solid organization. I want to thank the commissars who are here in front, who launch legitimate branches of the EFF, because you must know that as Sub-Regional Interim Leadership Corps or a PCT or a commissar, if you launch a branch that is bogus, that branch has already lost elections in 2026. You must launch proper branches, because the launch of branches now is to prepare for 2026. We are starting now. We are here to say to all of you, let Free State lead by example and create the proper branches which will liberate the people of Free State. Fighters, I want to salute your fellow comrades in the Northern Cape, and I thought they were going to be here today, so I can ask them to stand and you see the heroes of the EFF today. They went to ORANIA alone without the help of the national leadership. As a province, they never asked for a cent. They've never asked for a permission. They stood up one morning and said, we are going to confront the racist ORANIA and Freedom Front Plus. We salute them for being brave. We are with the people of Northern Cape. We are with the leadership of Northern Cape. We don't want ORANIA. We don't want Freedom Front Plus. We don't want the DA. We want the government of the people. ORANIA is possible because the ANC has lost power in Northern Cape. They want the vote of the EFF Plus for them to remain in power. That's why they allow ORANIA. They must allow the EFF in a government of Northern Cape. ORANIA will die the following day. They must allow the EFF in the national coalition. AfriForum will go to prison the following day, because under the EFF government there will never be a place for AfriForum. Only strong branches can make us achieve all of this. Comrades, I want to salute the EFF Youth Command. I see them fighting every day in TVET colleges. I see them fighting every day in universities, like in Walter Sisulu University, where they were defending the students and fighting for their poor living conditions. We salute them for having been brave, and without the EFF leadership, they have taken the lead to lead the youth of South Africa. Today, every university, every tertiary institution, the villages and townships know that there is an EFF Youth Command, because it's led by brave young people who are not scared. Comrades, we want to say here in Masulonyane that this nonsense that is happening in Ward 2 is going to stop next year when we go to elections. Ntweya dunusa utole msebenzi ya fela mo Ward 2, hurry ya go the electioning next year. You, the people of Masulonyane, you are your own liberators. Do not allow the corrupt councillors to come back. Even in the EFF, the corrupt councillors that you have identified, they must be isolated. They are rotten and they don't deserve to be in the EFF. Comrades, in Ward 7 and Ward 8 in Machabeng, we know that those wards are characterized by high unemployment, and for you to be employed, you have to be a member of the ANC. Tell our people not to surrender to the ANC. Do not join the corrupt organization. Stay with the people. Next year, no one will be required of the membership. All of you will be required of your ID and your qualification for you to get a job in South Africa. Comrades, from next year, no one will pay 2,000 rand in Virginia so that you can be high on the list of RDP houses. That nonsense must stop. All the RDP houses, all beneficiaries of RDP houses are going to be publicized everywhere in public offices. You must know who is number 1, who is number 10. So that if number 10 gets a house before number 1, you can question, how did this happen? Because number 1 was so and so. We want a transparent allocation of RDP houses. We want a transparent creation of jobs. Fighters, on your way to the voting stations. Those of you who have cars, le tlabe le kganna o ka re le matawa, le chabana le di pothole, because there is potholes everywhere here in Free State. How driver more Free State mo o tlagana le pothole o ka re ke swimming pool right in the middle of the road. Next year you have a chance to stop that. There is storage everywhere you go here in Free State. This Free State is a plague ya masepa everywhere matha strata kaofela. Ntho e batla e fela. Ra stopa masepa ANC next year, ra stopa today, and we are going to stop it next year. That is the end of sewer spillage in the Free State. We cannot live with sewer spillage, jump with the sewer spillage. You can't even get out of your house to go and vote because there is sewer. You go through sewer and you still vote for sewer. You've got yourself to blame. You must liberate yourself from today going into 2026. Comrades, your province has got the most corrupt government. The premier of this province, she's corrupt to the core. Her and her husband are beneficiaries of bribes. That's why the EFF must never rest until that premier is removed so that the ANC can be held accountable. Comrades, we want all of you to join the picket lines this year. You must never allow any wrongdoing. There must never be any wrongdoing in a clinic when there is a branch of the EFF. No child must be denied a report or access to school because that child did not pay school fees. Children do not pay school fees. School fees is paid by parents. If you have a problem, face the parents of the children and allow the children to go into school. Comrades, those Enikuruleni must never not have water when the EFF has got an MMC of water. There is no way the people of Tshwane cannot have proper run clinics because the EFF has got an MMC of health in Tshwane. We have a duty in Mohali City to give our people the roads that do not have potholes. Infrastructure in eThekwini must never collapse under our hands. In Johannesburg, we must make Metropolis more visible and more determined to fight corruption. In Nelson Mandela, the finances of that municipality must never collapse because the EFF is the MMC in Nelson Mandela. Everywhere where the EFF is leading, you must lead by example so that next year we can use those examples to say to our people, when you elect the EFF, this is the kind of government you get. Fellow fighters, I can guarantee you, you don't have to worry about whether the EFF is growing or not. This is the beginning of the EFF. Those who left the EFF had to go because the sea was cleansing itself. We are starting afresh. None of you must be discouraged by doomsayers. None of you must be scared of the future because the future belongs to the EFF. There is no one who's going to give Gogos poor, proper social grants except the EFF. There is no elderly person here in Masulenyani who will not get free electricity and water when the EFF takes over. Why are you saying our people must come and apply for indigent policy when you have them on the list of SASSA? They are already SASSA beneficiaries. They must receive free water and electricity automatically. Comrades, we must build proper houses for our people. And we must take the land and give those who want to build houses for themselves the piece of land, they must not pay for it. Comrades, we passed expropriation of land here in South Africa. We have passed one of the troubles which we had, because the EFF said we will expropriate land without compensation. So today, there is Expropriation Act. The only difference between those who are ruling and the EFF is we don't agree on the compensation. But even if we don't agree on the compensation, the ANC will never have courage to expropriate land and even pay, because they are scared to take the farms from white people. We want the farms taken from white people under the current laws. Whether you are going to pay or you are not going to pay, let the farms be returned in the hands of the farm workers. Let the farm workers be buried in those farms. They belong to them. Comrades, that is what they are scared of. They don't want the EFF in power, because they know that if the EFF comes to power, the land is going back into the hands of our people. Comrades, when we take over this country, there will never be a so-called unemployed doctor. How can you be an unemployed doctor after going to school for 7 years? The doctors must be automatically be employed when they graduate, because medicine is very expensive. We want each and every ward to have a clinic and to have a doctor and to have an ambulance in that particular ward. Comrades, we want our teachers back in classrooms, and we must return the dignity of teachers. We must pay them well. We must look after them so that they continue to be respected people in our society. We must go and fight for the dignity of the nurses. In the past, when they said this person was a nurse, they all looked beautiful, not because they were all beautiful, because they were well taken care of. And let's return to the beauty of nursing in South Africa. Fighters, we want every businessman to have an opportunity in Free State, not only the politically connected. Everyone who is in business must get business in Free State in South Africa. Elon Musk will never come and open his business here in South Africa as long as he doesn't surrender 30% to the South Africans. No one must come and do business in our country without involving our own people. No one must come to Masilonyana and open business, get a tender in Masilonyana and not involve the people of Masilonyana. We want the people of Mangaung, we want the people of Free State to benefit directly, not only on business. When there is a contract to build a road here, you must ask a question. You, the branch chairperson of the EFF, how many locals have you employed in this project? And if the locals are not enough, you must stop that project and demand that they employ more locals, because that project belongs to you. Comrades, we must fight unemployment. Our people are unemployed. The youth of South Africa, many of them have given up on looking for employment. When they've got 50 rand or 100 rand, they prefer to spend it on a bread instead of spending it on a transport to go and look for a job. They are discouraged because there are no jobs created in South Africa, and the ANC has got no plan to create jobs in South Africa. Only the EFF will create jobs through expropriation of land without compensation. Only the EFF will create jobs through nationalization of mines and strategic sectors of our economy. Only the EFF will create jobs by beneficiating the minerals here in South Africa. Only a brave government can create jobs, when it's prepared to confront the monopoly of white people in the economy of South Africa. This is your organization. No one will ever destroy this organization. This organization is in your hands. It belongs to you as members. Defend your organization with everything. Build your organization with everything. Fighters, when an old woman see a fighter wearing a beret or a t-shirt of the EFF, they see the hope and the future of South Africa. Those who destroy the beret and burn the t-shirt of the EFF, they are destroying the future of South Africa. Therefore, defend the EFF with everything. Put your bodies online in defense of the EFF. Do not want to be liked by those who want to destroy the organization that belongs to the poor of the poorest. This organization belongs to the branches of the EFF, belongs to the landless masses of our people, belongs to the poor of the poorest. With the EFF still alive, the people of Palestine will know freedom. We don't have freedom in South Africa for as long as the people of Palestine are still under the oppression of Zionist aggression of Israel. All of us must say, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, because we know as beneficiaries of international solidarity that if we stand with the oppressed in the world, those oppressed people will be liberated. Arien kaofela ha re tsamaya mo re isolate all political parties tse di ileng ko Israel, di kukuna bo DA, bo PA, bo ACDP, ba batla tšhelete, ba lwantsha the stand of South Africa. Let's go, all of us, and say, we are not free until the people of Palestine are free. We don't care if we are going to be punished for that. The people who were killed in Matola in Mozambique because of our freedom. The people who were killed in Lesotho because of our freedom. The people who were killed in Wankispolilo in Zimbabwe fighting for our freedom. We cannot allow that those who stood with us during difficult times are today isolated by the enemy, and we go to the side of the enemy. We are Palestine, and Palestine is South Africa. We are Africa, and Africa is South Africa. We will fight xenophobia with everything in our power to unite Africa so that we can have one currency, we can have one military command, we can have one president. This continent is not a continent for as long as we